Good morning, my name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host on Edge. Today is Chuf Zayin Cheshvan, Tuesday, Parshas told us on Edge. I'm your host, Gershy Schwarcz, bringing you the news of the last 24-hour happenings in the world. Breaking news out of Gush Etzion. A brutal terror attack shook the Gush Etzion junction today. One Israeli was killed, Hashem Yinkandumai, and 3 more were injured, including 1 in critical condition. According to the IDF, 3 Palestinian terrorists turned their car into a weapon, slamming into pedestrians. 1 terrorist then jumped out of his car with a knife trying to stab more victims. Soldiers opened fire immediately and eliminated all 3 terrorists. Inside the terrorists' vehicle, security forces discovered multiple explosives, showing this was meant to be Chalila v'chas, Hashem Yishmer v'yatzil, a far more larger attack. On Edge News is powered by Yiddish24, reaching almost 60,000 Yidden a day. And just since last week, this English edition brings that same clean kosher news to you, to more people. No junk, no nonsense, just real news you can trust. Brought to you by none other than the Click. LakewoodLuach.com, the LakewoodLuach.com, the Heimische Info Hub for the Lakewood area and beyond. Subscribe to their WhatsApp for minyonim, eateries, and all the important local updates, clean, filtered, no Lashon Haras, no fluff. On Edge News. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman arrived to Washington today, Baroiv Hadras Melech with all the lights. US President Trump is rolling out the red carpet for the Saudi Crown Prince, the leader's first visit in 7 years to the White House, with a huge military flyover, possibly the Vitamin B, the B-2 bombers, Trump's favorite aircraft, and a formal black tie event. Dinner. The big headline is the weapons, obviously. President Donald J. Trump confirmed he is approving the sale of advanced F-35 stealth fighter jets to the kingdom. He told reporters directly, "We will be selling F-35s, a move that shifts the balance of the power in the Middle East." They also are discussing a major defense treaty and billions of dollars in new trade deals, and a normalization agreement, hopefully, with Israel. Trump, as I just said, is hoping that they will join the Abraham Accords, like he likes to call it. In a world of AI, Iran has no drinking water, but a pen and paper still is in the works there. The prince, Mohammed bin Salman, came with a message, a written message, from Iran. Iran's president sent a written letter with Mohammed bin Salman a day before his trip to give over to Trump. Saudi officials did not say what the letter contains. There's no confirmation that Trump has seen it yet, but the timing shows that Iran wanted its message on the table before the meeting happens. Sometimes a Yid faces a hard question, needs a real answer, a guidance, chizik, for refuas, for a shidduch, parnasa. Should I do A, should I do B? We all know that divine intuition, Richa Kodesh, comes to us every second of the day. We just have to trust it. But we have, our obstacles and other things that get in the way. So, with a goyrel, a Yid can always come to a clear hachluta, a clear decision. The system set up by the Natvana Rebbe of Blumenberg, with a trusted system of Geirulas, guided by what the Harav Wozen, the Shevet Alevi himself says, Shevet Alevi. For a year to make a Geirul is Kodesh Kodeshim. It's rooted from Tanakh, supported by leading poskim. People turn to it for personal direction, for hard decisions, and even for matters of refuah, like I just said. To sign up, call 845-400-8090. Again, 845-400-8090, where you will be able to hear what and how this works. Machon HaGerulas. Been around for 18 years, by the way. So the money goes towards building Bata Madrashim and Mikvus, so you can use master money, yes. And you can know what to do. The UN Security Council just gave its stamp of approval to the Trump-led plan for Gaza. Let's hear. The UN Security Council has now approved the Trump-backed plan for Gaza. The vote was 13-0. Russia and China abstained. They stayed quiet. The plan brings a new international force called the ISF to handle security borders, disarming terror groups like Hamas, and provides humanitarian support. A temporary governing body will run things. It's called the Board of Peace, chaired by Donald J. Trump himself, together with Tony Blair from England, the former Prime Minister, together with the Palestinian Committee for Daily Management. The resolution says the conditions may finally be in place for a real pathway to a Palestinian state. Well, a Palestinian self-determination and statehood. Trump is very happy with this and posted on his platform Truth Social yesterday, "Congratulations to the world on the incredible vote of the United Nations Security Council, and many more exciting announcements will be made in the coming weeks," he says. It was a longer drusha than that. I'm not going to repeat everything. You can go look. Well, no, you don't have to, but I just told you. A new poll shows Hamas is gaining full support in Gaza. 51% of Gazans now say they are satisfied with Hamas's control over the Strip, more than 39% from last year. And you all know that more than half of Gaza, residents of Gaza, are actually Hamas. Many in Gaza say life feels more stable, even under harsh rules. Did I just say that many of Gaza are Hamas? Most also oppose calls to disarm Hamas, even if that would end the war. And like I said, most are Hamas. A major scandal is growing in the Arab world. Reports say a group linked to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt stole about $500 million that people donated for the needy Gazans. The money was meant for food and medical help. Instead, the group is accused of keeping it for itself. In other news, Israeli settlers that live in the West Bank set fire to homes and vehicles yesterday in the Palestinian village of Al-Jaba, which is in the West Bank. The attack happened during the olive harvest season, when violence between settlers and Palestinians often flare up. Israeli security forces rushed to the scene and arrested 6 people at the scene. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned this attack and called the suspects a handful of extremists. Kids were injured on Sunday in a school for special needs in Beit Shemesh. A section of the roof collapsed in that school. 4 girls were hurt, 1 was moderately injured, and 3 others were lightly injured. Rescue teams cleared the building and started checking what was the cause of the collapse. Parents are demanding a full safety review of the school. Now, Budget Yid is a new platform, budgetyid.com. Okay? A new platform that actually helps you stay on top of your money. Users get free budgeting charts, easy sharing, and simple tools to track every expense, no cost at all. Now, if you're a mechitten making chazana, you can join your mechitten on budgetyid.com, who's already probably on there, and budget the simcha like you should. You should know exactly who's paying for what, who's paying for which, and for when, and for whom. If you're a seller, this is where if you're a seller, this is where it gets exciting. For just $30 a month, you get a full selling hub to list your products and reach real customers without spending big on marketing. And the premium options take it even further. It connects right to your bank account and credit cards so that you can see every dollar spent in one clean dashboard. Total clarity, total control. It's smart, it's affordable, and it brings users and sellers together in one place. Check it out and mention on Edge. Visit Budget Yid today. Ural's crude oil has fallen about $36 a barrel. $36 a barrel. This is the weakest level in over 2 years. This comes just before the American sanctions are supposed to kick in on Rosneft and Lukoil, Russia's main oil sector. Major buyers in India and China are pulling back. For Moscow, this means very little money left in their war bank and mounting budget stress. They're probably not using Budget Yid. I'm joking, obviously not. For the oil world, it sends a clear message that sanctions work. Yeah. The ex-president of Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, does not care about this loss and said the war will continue until the Russian Federation achieves its objectives, which is killing millions of their own soldiers? I don't know. That's what I said, and he didn't say that. The point is like this. Let's continue the news. Elbit, one of Israel's leading defense companies, just like Lockheed Martin or Elta, they produce weapons and advanced weapons and defense systems. Elbit has secured a record $2.3 billion arms deal, a contract with a foreign customer that chose not to reveal its identity anonymously. Well, if you know who it is, please email me on onedgenews@gmail.com. And you'll get a shout out if you actually find out who it was. The exact systems were also not disclosed, but the company described it as a comprehensive weapons package deal. Now, while the world map is being fought over in parts of the world with blood and money, America's also fighting internally about the congressional map. Redistricting. It helps for the midterm elections. Republicans started in Texas, and it went over to California, and now everyone else is trying to do it. A major political battle just broke out inside the Republican Party, and it's all about who draws the map for Indiana's congressional districts. President Donald J. Trump warned he will endorse anyone who is against him. In other words, who's against any Indiana Republican who blocks the redistricting. He called out, he's going to unendorse him. Basically, Republicans are running. He called out state senators Roderick Bray and Greg Good by name and said that they're siding with Democrats by refusing to redraw the map. Isn't he hurting himself when he unendorses them? I don't know. Trump wants Indiana to change its congressional map now, so not to wait for the next census. The goal is to create stronger Republican seats, like I just said, for the midterms, the 2026 House race. The Indiana House supports the plan, but the state Senate just announced it won't even come back in December for a vote. The US House has officially scheduled a massive vote on the Epstein scandal for this afternoon. They're demanding the full release of the remaining files and flight logs. It's a surprise. In a surprise U-turn twist, President Donald J. Trump reversed his position. Like I said yesterday, he's saying that he will sign the bill if it reaches his desk in the Oval Office. Not the Oval, his desk. The case against ex-FBI Director James Comey floated in the headlines today again. A federal judge blamed the Justice Department today for profound mistakes in their case against former FBI Director James Comey. The judge found evidence of a government misconduct and ordered prosecutors to immediately hand over the secret grand jury files to Comey's defense team. A court has ordered the execution death sentence of Bangladesh's former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. She was found guilty of crimes against humanity for ordering a deadly military crackdown on protesters, before she fled to the country last year. Since she is currently in exile in India, it's unclear if or when the sentence will be carried out. The US and Venezuela are saying they might be ready to make a deal, even though tensions are still very high. While the massive USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier floats in the Caribbean, President Donald J. Trump hinted that discussions could happen soon. He told reporters, in his words, Venezuela would like to talk. Well, they answered the phone. Maduro said this morning, whoever wants to talk to Venezuelans will talk face to face. Listen.
Se hablará. Face to face. Cara a cara.
Great. Now you know some. Yeah. Anyway, sending a massive aircraft carrier to ask for a meeting, I guess, is one way to make sure they pick up the phone. The acting head of FEMA, David Richardson, has resigned after only 6 months in charge. He took over the agency in May 2025, for those who remember, and submitted his resignation on Monday. His departure comes while the hurricane season is still underway. During his time there, FEMA officials criticized him for being mostly absent from key disaster responses, especially the flood in Texas. Whoever remembers the deadly flood in Texas this summer. FEMA is the federal government's main disaster response agency, for those who don't know. So, instability at the top raises concerns that reaction times and coordination could suffer when disasters strike. Let's talk about On Edge News. On Edge News is powered by Yiddish24 in Yiddish, where we're reaching close to 60,000 viewers and listeners combined every single day via the app, Yiddish24.com, and Kol Mevaser, the hotline. And now 118 from the main menu, or 112, the Hakol Bakol section in Yiddish. And now, with this English edition, provided to you by The Click, we're hoping to bring that same reach to an even wider audience as well, so with your help. So tell your friends, tell your family members, if those who don't know. Why is this show different, and why is it for you? Well, as Torah Yidden, we want to know what's happening in the world, right? But the problem is simple. Most news out there, not fully kosher. Somebody told me yesterday, they thanked me, said, thank you so much, it said in these words. You have no idea what you did. Because of you, I dropped all the non-kosher outlets and I only listened to your news, to On Edge. And trust me, trust Hashem, I'm only doing this for this reason, and I know it helps. And no, by the way, it's not making me money. The sponsors are helping me provide, so I should be able to do this. It cost me a ton of money to make this. I think I don't even know if I'm making it even. Anyway, the point is, you never, by Hashem will help, Mitzvah, you never really know what's going to happen. But the point is, you never really know what you're hearing or what's behind the stories. On Edge, together with Yiddish24, partner together to make this happen. The largest platform, Yiddish24, giving kosher news for kosher entertainment for close to 30 years through Kol Mevaser and now Yiddish24. So they're fully dedicated to changing that, and we are fully dedicated to changing that. Our mission is to bring you clean kosher news every single day. No nonsense, no fluff, no garbage, like my brother The Click says, right? Just what you need to know. It's the first and only news station built for this exact movement. Share it with your family members and friends who want to stay informed, but they want to stay kosher and clean. And the English edition, like I said, is brought to you by my brother, The Click. Jeff Bezos launched a new AI startup with himself as CEO, or might I say. Jeff Bezos appointed himself as the co-CEO of a new AI startup called Project, now pronounce it with me together, Prometheus. The startup has already raised $6.2 billion to develop AI tools for engineering and manufacturing. Project Project Prometheus has quietly hired around 100 employees from top AI firms, and no further details were publicly disclosed. In other news, Bitcoin dropped under $90,000 for the first time in 7 months. You all know where it was about 7 months ago. It's now down about 29% from a record high. President Donald J. Trump said he plans to send out tariff dividend checks in the middle of 2026. He says each person could receive up to $2,000. The money would come from tariffs, dividends, taxes, and goods that come from other countries' tariffs, yeah? Congress still needs to approve this bill, so nothing is final yet, but Donald J. Trump himself says the checks will go out once the plan is in place. Obviously, what's in place? When you want to buy a building. And when you want to buy a building for investment, you call YS Capital Group, because YS Capital Group says the answer is yes. And there's no closing costs or fees attached to the loans that they provide you. 718-831-2168. Call them, find out for yourself. This week, climbers found a boot and jacket poking out of the ice near the top of Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world. The name tag said A.C. Irvin, or Irvin, depending where you are in the world. Some say Irvin, some say Irvin. That's Andrew Irvin, or Irvin. Andrew Irvin, the British climber who vanished in 1924 with George Mallory. No one knows if they made it to the summit. Their bodies were swallowed by the mountain and never found until today. Melting glaciers are starting to reveal the frozen, dead corpse bodies, one by one. A volcano erupted this week on Hawaii's Big Island, shooting lava nearly 1,500 feet into the air, my friends. It happened inside a place called, now together with me, Kilauea. Can you pronounce it? Kilauea. The summit crater called, well, another interesting name, Helemaumau. Again, Helemaumau. It's part of the highly active Kilauea volcano. The U.S. Geological Survey says this is part of the volcano's ongoing active cycle. So far, the lava, gas, and ashes are staying inside the summit area. The surrounding national parks remain closed for safety reasons, obviously. In other safety news, New York City is under code blue tonight because of snow and sleet and ice and very, very freezing weather. They say below 20. So in other words, when the city calls a code blue, shelters stay open, teams go out to bring people indoors, forecasts show temperatures are dropping. Like I said, people are being told to call city services if they spot anyone outside who may be in danger from the cold. In other words, the news came out a little bit, was affected today, this news station, because huge parts of the internet crashed today. Lots of people, leaving millions of people, really, unable to use major apps. The daily apps like they use, X, ChatGPT, and Spotify, and other apps. The trouble started with a company called Cloudflare, which acts like a massive security guard and traffic controller for thousands of websites. They reported a sudden spike in unusual traffic this morning that overwhelmed their system, essentially locking the doors to huge sections of the web. Even the website that tracks the internet outages went down during the chaos. Engineers are fixing the problem right now, and probably almost done, but it's a lot of work and sites are coming back online. But the connection speeds are still slow and glitchy across the globe. Let's talk about your business. Your business apps that you use for your business shouldn't be glitchy, shouldn't be messy. That's why you should call Protobyte 347-354-1237 to make sure that they build you a system, all-in-one system. Communications, sales, CRM, tracking, apps, all the complicated stuff in one place. Complicated for them to build, but easy for you to work with and for your customers, obviously, to enjoy. So Protobyte 347-354-1237. The OU announced a major change in beer kashrus this week. Because of new brewing methods and additives, unflavored beer can no longer be assumed to be kosher without a hechsher. Many national beer brands will still be acceptable, but all craft beers will now need a clear kosher symbol or certification letter to be used. This is the first time in decades that plain beer is no longer considered automatically kosher. So yes, you gotta check. Let's end with something interesting, but first, or the historic facts of the day provided you by the click. But first, let's thank our sponsors, Arrive Express, the taxi of the upstate region. That's Muncie and Monroe, or the wider region. 845-622-1111. From Monroe, 845-254-1111. Shawama Delight. Yes, you would like to dikvik your hearts, like you say in Yiddish, with a good shawarma. They don't just sell shawarma, they sell burgers, they sell chicken sandwiches, all kind of different things, but it's a Mediterranean-style restaurant or takeout. Shawarma Delight, Spring Valley Marketplace, next to Bingo, 845-272-0011, or go onto sdny.store and get yourself a delicious shawarma, free delivery within the area of Muncie. Okay? Yes, Shawarma Delight. We can always, you have to say on edge. All these companies, all the sponsors that I mentioned, tell them that you heard about them through On Edge, and you and I both benefit from this. I benefit from this to know that, yes, it helps, and you benefit from this because you get cool deals and discounts and a free drink in Shawarma Delight's case. We can always rely on Donald J. Trump, our president of the United States, to make the news, basically. I'm busy because of him, I guess. Reporter asked him yesterday, "Sir, your voice sounds a little bit rough. Are you all right?" Trump answered, "I feel great. I was shouting at some people because they were stupid about something." That's what he responded. Historic, it's not funny, it's the usual. This is daily life by him. Historic facts of the day, my friends, provided to you by The Click. Chov Zayin Cheshvan, the 27th day of Cheshvan, known to all, the day that Noach left the Taiva. According to Chazal, this is the date when the earth finally dried up after the Mabul. And Hashem told Noach and his family, you may leave the ark now and begin rebuilding the world. It's considered a moment of new beginnings. His chachus. But today, especially, Hashem promises that the world will never again be destroyed by water, by a mabul. And with that, my friends, may you all have a wonderful day. Stay informed and stay on edge, and we'll see you tomorrow, Be'ezer Hashem Yisborach.
On Edge.